It's great to be here. Thank you for the invitation. It's interesting. I just left one group of educators trying to convince them of the importance of helping students get into careers, helping them get into the workforce. Now I get to come over here and talk to you about the importance of community colleges partnering with the workforce. So it's full circle. And I hope you're not as grumpy as the last group I left. But all right. So forgive me, but I move around a lot. It's the only way I've survived all these years. It's hard to hit a moving target. But in any case, you know, first let me just say that I think what you guys do here in greater San Diego area is remarkable. The way that you've organized yourselves between workforce partners, community colleges, your university partners is a great model for our state. And really, as you know, if you think about it, our state isn't one big giant workforce region. Our state operates in smaller regions with regional economies. So the model that you've created here really is something that many of us throughout the state are looking at to replicate in regions throughout the state. Really maximize the assets you have in support of the folks in the greater San Diego area that want to enter the workforce. So let me just talk a little bit about, you know, I was asked to talk about the vision for success and spent a lot of time talking about this, but let me try to translate it for you. Because, you know, most people don't understand what we say in academia. It's a whole different language, and I'm sure you've spent a lot of time frustrated with us in education because we just don't really understand what happens in the workforce, and you don't understand what happens on our campuses. So I'll try to speak to you in terms that you understand. And the Vision for Success document was created not just for internal consumption of our 114 colleges, but as important, for you all to understand where we're going and why we're going there. Because we want to organize all our partners. We want to organize our 114 colleges. We want to organize philanthropy. We want to organize our workforce partners, our chambers, our economic development corporations. We want to organize our social justice community, all in pursuit of the same vision. And so what is that vision? That vision is, you know, in California, we have a growing income divide. You see it every time you drive from the Inland Empire to Santa Monica, from the San Francisco Bay Area to the Central Valley, and from north to south. You see that income divide. You see the challenges that Californians have with housing, with health care, and the cost of just participating in the economy today. And the common divider, if you drew a circle around every community that had poor health outcomes, that had low rates of wealth, that had poor civic participation rates, that had high unemployment or underemployment, each and every one of those circles you would see also low education attainment rates. This is a common denominator. And so as we look at the assets that we have in California, we have 114 colleges serving 114 different communities up and down the state. I believe no other system of higher education is better positioned to engage in those direct conversations with community members, with K-12 leaders, with university partners, and with our workforce partners to do something about what's happening to us in our state. You know, without getting political on you, I mean, you see this playing out across the country today. you see how many people feel disconnected to the economy and the frustration that comes from that. You know, whether you agree with how that frustration is being communicated or not, there is frustration. There is a disconnect. There is a lack of trust between government and people in communities that have been left behind. There is a lack of trust between those communities and our higher education system. The same thing is happening in California. It's just not as stark yet. And we're not having the same kind of conversations as other places in the country, because I hope in California we've evolved. Although I still get emails time to time from people throughout the state arguing that not every student in our community colleges deserves the same opportunity. But did I hear a hiss in the crowd? Yes. Yes, that's how I feel as well. But, so this vision for success is really about how do we organize ourselves as 114 colleges to get to the fundamental issue that we're trying to address: social and economic mobility. Bottom line, that's what we do in California community colleges, okay? We can talk about credentials, degree production, all these proxies for social and economic mobility, but at the end of the day, it's about giving someone an opportunity to improve their lives and the lives of their family and community. Bottom line. And we've done a wonderful job in higher education of complicating that issue in the way that we organize ourselves, in the way that we create curriculum, in the way that we serve students, in the way that we reject students. We're about social and economic mobility. That is the heart of what we need to accomplish in order for our communities, our state, and our nation to be successful. And why do I say our nation? Nearly 1 in 4 of every community college student in the nation is a California community college student. So this is not just an impact on the state of California. This is an impact on the nation. And I'm challenging our 114 colleges, including myself and my staff, to lead this conversation nationally, to show that we can be a diverse and prosperous state. It is possible, and that we can have a system of public education that does deliver. We can, and we will, because that is what California needs from us. So it's great to be in a community that gets it. It's great to be in a community that's having these conversations, challenging our college leaders challenging our workforce leaders in support of every resident of the greater San Diego area. That's what we need, and that's what the vision for success is all about. How do I empower Gross-Cuyamaca, Mira Costa, the San Diego Community College District, Imperial Valley Community College District, Palomar College? How do we empower them to do what needs to be done on the ground in their community? So, in the vision for success, we talk about increasing the number of students who get valued workforce credentials. We talk about improving the way that we deliver education to more and more Californians. You know, in California, we serve over 2 million students. But there is also about 4.5 million working-age Californians that have some college and no credential. Those individuals have been left behind as well. And we have about another 3 million or so working-age adults in the workforce that have no credential. We need to reach them as well. Because you all know that this economy discriminates against those individuals that don't have a credential or some level of skill that they can demonstrate to an employer and have a decent paying job, a livable wage paying job. Even if you're an apprentice working for a trade organization or a union, You still need skills. If you're an auto mechanic, you need a college credential to really understand the technology that you're working with. If you're in manufacturing, the world of manufacturing is completely changed. This economy requires that everybody in the workforce has some post-secondary credential. It used to be that a high school diploma was that default. You know, we organized as a country around making sure that everyone had access to a high school education. We take that for granted today. That wasn't always the case. We decided as a nation that everyone needed at least a high school education, and then the high school diploma became the default to get into the workforce. Those days are gone. We've moved the goalpost. So what are we going to do in response to that? You know, for those of you who, and I know many of you, pay attention to the changes in the workforce. You know, the nature of work is changing before our eyes. You know, I have the opportunity to sit with people a lot smarter than me who are thinking about this and are showing me what the future of the workforce is going to look like in 5, 10, 15 years. It's going to be dramatically different than today. And in 15 years, it'll be dramatically different again. The goalposts were pretty stable for many, many decades. Those goalposts are moving quickly before our eyes. So we have to organize ourselves in a way that allows us to keep up with those changes, that allows and encourages and incentivizes our colleges to keep up with those changes and to work with you all to support those changes. Because without you all, without workforce investment boards, without our folks leading our economic development corporations or chambers, we have to organize ourselves in a way that makes this everyone's job, to support every person in our community so that they can have real opportunity. You know, I don't want to talk about having a universal wage for everybody. I want to talk about having a universal opportunity for good paying jobs for everybody. That's what we should be focused on. And if we don't organize ourselves quickly and change the way that we're approaching education, we're going to leave a lot more people behind. So, I know I'm speaking to the choir. Every choir needs a good sermon from time to time. So my sermon is about done. I want to thank you all for supporting our colleges, supporting our leaders. I mean, you know, folks like Cindy Miles and Sonny Cook and the other leaders, you know, they're also taking risk. We need to support them in that risk taking. I'm trying to give them the cover to be risk takers, to engage in conversations with you, to change the paradigm of how we work together and how we better support each and every student in your community. So I want to thank you again for inviting me. Thank you for the work that you do. You know, certainly if there's a few questions that I can answer, I'm happy to, but otherwise, thank you for coming together and for continuing to support the greater San Diego area.